in partnership with Guitar Streaming 352. You're watching Artist Talk with your host, The Dreamer. And today on Artist Talk, I am pleased to have Mr. Ben Coombs from Canada. So everybody give Ben a welcome. Say hi to Ben and ask him questions. I'll give you the opportunity. Let's check it out. Let the show begin. All right, we're live. Hey, everybody. For those who don't know me, my name is Will, aka The Dreamer. Guitar Streaming 352 right here. Thank you for being here today. And I have Mr. Ben Coombs from Canada. We are going to talk to Ben about guitars, guitar gear, goals, music goals, and everything music related. Everybody come and say hi in the chat to Ben. Come and say hi in the chat. I'll give everybody an opportunity to ask Ben one question only. Sorry, folks. So without further ado, I would like to introduce, live from Canada, live from his home studio, the Great White North, Mr. Ben Coombs. Hey Ben,
everybody.
How are you?
Doing great, man. Thanks for having me on, Will.
Thank you for being here. Thank you so very much for being here.
Hey, gosh. I love talking gear. Not gonna lie.
Well, yep. Me too. So tell me, Ben, that's a short backstory. Just how you got into music, how you decided to play guitar, and what inspired you to pursue guitar in your life and music in your life?
Good question. Well, I grew up around music. My dad was a gigging musician while I was growing up, so literally, always been kind of on the fringe as a kid, jam sessions, festivals, things like that. Kind of just grew up in it. So I didn't think it was ever whether or not I'd ever pick up a guitar. It was just a matter of when. So of course, you hit 13, 14 years old, get into guitars. So started that, played through high school. After high school, noodled around a bit. Life got in the way, put it down for a while. Picked it back up about 10 years ago, hardcore. And I was, doing live sound production at shows, producing my own shows, promoting. Noticed how much fun everybody was having up on stage. So I joined a band, gigged around Southern Ontario, trying to make it for a few years. And then kind of got out of that, got into doing the cover band thing, doing that locally, having fun with my best friends. And then which led into, you guys know how it is at a band rehearsal or in between sets at a gig. What do? You sit around with your bandmates talking about gear. So a couple years ago, decided to turn the camera on and start doing YouTube, talking about gear. So here we are 2 years later. I'm hanging out with some guy named The Dreamer out of California. And, that's kind of the thumbnail right there.
That, I'm telling you, music is, I never thought in my wildest dreams, I've listened to bands from Canada. I grew up on Triumph. I grew up on Rush.
Right.
And, that was all a staple in my childhood and coming up through the years. But I never thought in my wildest dreams, number one, that I would ever have a talk show.
Right.
I'm a player. I'm a guitar player. I never
Sure.
thought I would have a talk show. Never even entertained the thought. Number two, I never thought that if I did have a talk show, I would ever meet anybody from Canada.
Right.
Number three, I just didn't see this coming in my life, you know,
Sure.
until I met a real good friend of mine who is now a real good friend of mine, and he told me, and I watched them and I watched them and I watched them, and I'm like, wait a minute, I can do this. And then it dawned on me, what are you afraid of? Just do it.
Mm-hmm.
So music, it's all because of music.
I
And
agree. I
you
agree.
know,
When I started my channel, the first video was a live stream, excuse me, with my best friend as my co-host, and he's not into YouTube really. So I was trying to explain what a live Q&A live stream was. And I said, basically, dude, it's like we sit around talking gear. He's like, yeah. I said, except there's going to be some people watching us and asking us further questions
yeah,
on our conversation about gear. So we went live, we did an hour. We get done, and he's like, that's all it is? I was like, yeah, dude. It's the same as sitting around in the living room, except there's a camera on, and we got a few extra friends hanging out with us. Oh, I like that. So it started. It was funny because I think the theme of the first live stream was an unboxing. That's right, because I got in a pedal forum, and he was so not into YouTube. I said, okay, it's time to do the unboxing. So he walks off camera to grab the box and starts opening it off camera. He's like, no, buddy, you got to do it in front of the camera. That's kind of what a live unboxing is. So, yeah, good times.
well,
And now we
that's
talk all
cool.
over the world. It's crazy.
It's amazing with technology
Mm-hmm.
that that I can that this kind of stuff can be done, and it's like there. I personally love talking gear. I love showing gear. I love checking out other people's gear. It's inspiring to me,
Oh, for sure.
you know. There normally I always ask my guest, if you had a dream piece of gear, what would it be?
Good question. Well, there's a couple facets to that. I've had a guitar on my brain since July.
Which
Uh,
one?
I was in Carter's Vintage Music down in Nashville during Summer NAMM, and I got my hands on a 57 Telecaster.
Yeah.
For those who know me, I'm a big Tele player. You see one right there. My signature guitar is based off one. But that was, I believe, the only year they did a V-neck instead of a soft C. So it had this really nice V-neck shape to it, which reminded me a lot of my Martin guitar. And the first two guitars I started noodling on was a Telecaster and a Martin. So it was literally melding my two first experiences together in one. I think I sat there for half an hour playing that thing till my buddy Aaron's like, dude, we got to go. Other people want to use the rehearsal spaces and stuff at this shop. So, yeah, I've been thinking about that 57 Tele since July.
Wow. Was it a blonde telly?
Of course. Is there any other color? I don't know.
What I've seen. Well, really, I mean, I have seen red tellies, black tellies, so on and so forth. But yeah, blonde telly. That was the first telly I believe I ever saw was a blonde telly, and it was Tom Petty playing it.
Nice. Tom's yeah. underrated talent Tom Petty was. But, the big question for me always was black guard or white guard. That was the only question. It was a given there was going to be a Telecaster. Or, let's see, rosewood neck or maple neck. So, yeah, I have a few. I have a problem.
So what does your main guitar collection consist of?
These days, the core is definitely my Telecasters. I have this one here, that's a 71 Tele. This one here is a 67 Tele, so I have 2 CBS era Teles. And because it's handy, this is my number 1 gigging Tele for years. Made in Mexico, 2015. Double humbucker with coil tap, which playing in a cover band, this covers a lot of territory.
Wow.
And I'd say since 2015, this thing's probably got 100 gigs, 300 rehearsals, and 1,000 jam sessions on it.
Wow. What kind of pickups are those, Ben?
These are Fender, what do they call it? They called them Blacktop, and it was one of the few years where they did a black bobbin and a chrome bobbin rather than black and white. High output, they're about 15K output, and humbucker 7.5K on single coil. So very nice full sounding pickups. I've debated swapping them out a couple of times, but I don't know. It's just you don't want to mess with the mojo. It's like it sounds good, but do I take the chance? So it will get some modifications done to it sooner or later. I'm looking at putting a new switching system in it with a 6-way switch, basically. So more on that later, folks.
That's cool, man. That's cool. That's very cool. So what are some of the places that your band has played at? Like, do you have any memorable gigs?
Good question. The last couple of bands I was in, I literally, I'm about 100 miles east of Toronto. So, like a lot of communities, let's say like where you are, for the longest time, LA was considered 90 neighborhoods looking for a city to be around. So it's sort of the same idea, except, you got that 5 minutes of farmland between each little town. So, there's half a dozen towns within 20 minutes of here, and you just gig in a different venue. Every town has 1 or 2 venues and, bars, pubs, what have you. Prior to that, when I was playing original music, sort of the same circuit locally. And then once a month, I'd pop into Toronto, downtown to play a club. Probably one of my most memorable would have been playing at the Rock Pile in Toronto, which is a rock bar, a dedicated rock bar out in the West End. And a lot of LA bands that were, big back in the day still tour through there. So like literally, I think the weekend we played there on the Friday, the previous Friday, George Lynch had played there. And the next Friday, Faster Pussycat was playing there. So you're standing there during sound check, and I'm thinking, well, George stood right here a week ago, So it was a little bit of a mind trip, to say the least.
Yeah, I bet. Well,
and I don't think we ever sounded good as that night. The guy doing sound for us in the club just came off tour. He was doing monitor mixes for Michael Schenker right before come back to Toronto and work at this club. So I was like, damn, okay, let's do this.
That's perfect, actually. Monitor mixes from Michael Schenker.
Yep.
So he was locked in already.
Oh, he was. I remember just hitting an E chord once. He had me in the monitor, and I said, "Who's that?" And he says, "Well, that's your tone." I said, "That's not my tone," because he had re-EQ'd it. And he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry." He was, "I put an EQ on." I'm like, "No, dude. I have never sounded better." Like it was, normally, let's say you sounded like you're plugging into a little solid state practice amp. And then all of a sudden you come through the monitors and it sounds like you're playing through a full Marshall stack.
Yeah.
You're like, whoa, where'd this come from?
That's cool, man. That is so neat.
Mm-hmm.
Were you that that's the kind of thing that sometimes, as much as I hate to say it, sometimes a lot of gigging people don't have that experience.
I agree. I agree.
It, it it's it's really a shame. It's
Yeah.
really a shame.
There's nothing, I swear, there's nothing better than being on stage with your friends and, like say the mix is just right. Your tone is on point. The drummers keep in perfect time. The bass player does that cool fill that you love. And it is like, 1+1 = 5. It's just magic.
Well, I'll tell you, a good mix. That's really crucial.
Right.
And I'm glad that you had that opportunity to actually gig in a place, number one, where Faster Pussycat and George Lynch played a week and 2 weeks before you did,
Yep.
and number two, having that monitor man, having that mixer,
Yeah.
somebody who actually knows what they're doing.
Well, it was cool, but on the other, one side, I looked at it as kind of sad because we don't have those intermediate clubs, your 500-600 seat clubs that used to exist. Someone converted an old movie theater, what have you. So it's literally you either play rock bars or arenas. It seems like we have nothing in between anymore, and it's like. I remember pulling up at another venue and there's the show poster, our band is headlining there and, let's say cover dollar's $10 to come in to see us. Well, the next week, Gilby Clarke is playing the same place and they're charging 15 a head. And I'm like, really? He had a cup of coffee with Guns N' Roses and now he's playing the same bars as me? But that's it, right?
That's the way it works, though, because these guys, I learned a long time ago that what it meant to be a gigging musician is that you just never know. Well, you can find out, obviously you do find out, but prior to the gig, sometimes you don't know who you're opening up for.
That's true.
Or who's opening up for you.
Yep. I actually see you mentioned that who's opening for you. That it reminds me of a funny story. Again, playing a club in Toronto, and this band's opening for us, and they're really tight, they're really good, and my girlfriend at the time is standing there with me, and I said, these guys are really good. She's like, yeah, you like them? I said, yeah, I really dig their vibe. We should bring them out and have them open a few shows for us. And she's like, yeah, you say that every time they open for you. I said, what? She says, this is the third time they've opened for you. Oh, okay.
And who is that?
They were a band out of the Toronto area called This Is a Crisis. I don't know if they ever got signed or not, but man, great group of guys. They're probably all around 30 years old now. But man, the energy, I'm trying to think who they reminded me of. Kings of Leon type thing going on. Oh. And really good stuff. And I just remember that. And I was just like, yeah, these guys are really good. She's like, yeah, you say that every time they play for you. I was like, damn. Then again, I may have been in a bit of a Spinal Tap phase at that point. I was pretty used to being told where to go, what time to be there, led around on a leash more or less. Because I never had to drive to and from the venues. So sobriety was a relative term, I think, at that time.
So what is the name of your band?
That's a good one. Right now I'm not playing. So the original band was called One Day to Live. I think there's a little bit of video of us here on YouTube that I posted a few years ago. I also played in hard rock cover band called Smile Harder. And the latest project was called the Honey Badger Outfit. We went after the Honey Badgers because that kind of reflected the group of musicians that got into the band, because nothing gets in the way of a honey badger when it sees something it wants. And that was us with music. Nothing was going to stop us.
That's cool, man. So what is the gear? Let's talk gear here for a second.
That's going to be a long talk.
That's okay with me. You know, I love talking it. I love hearing about it. Have you ever seen this before? Let's see if I can. Sorry about that.
That looks familiar. Oh yeah, okay. I think I tried one of those last year at NAMM.
I really like Boss. I'm a big Boss user. I'm a big Boss guy.
I got a few Boss pedals sitting right there.
Which one is that?
There's let's see, we got a Boss DD3 up there, a Mega Distortion, a Made in Japan Chorus CE2, and a Boss Flanger. And those are the ones that are not on a board currently.
Boss. I love Boss.
I'll tell you, that's one thing when you do product demos, you end up with a lot of pedals. That's kind of the first step in product demos is pedal reviews. And
I need to actually, it's funny you would mention that, because that's what I'm setting up for today. Is I'm setting up what I want to do is I want to start broadcasting pedal demos and using my tablet to capture the pedal and that type of thing, and then but I'm still working out the bugs with that. I'm still working out the bugs with that. Have you seen this right here?
I've seen it. I haven't tried one of those. I never got into EQ pedals yet. That's another rabbit hole. I'm currently in the fuzz rabbit hole right now. So don't get me started on EQs. Jeez,
there you
I'm
go.
broken off.
Hey. Another company I really love.
Great guys. Dave, I was talking with Dave, a couple of weeks ago, I guess. And not to do a shameless plug, but if you're familiar with Friedman, you're probably familiar with their demo artist, Sammy Bowler.
Yep. I was just talking to him actually a couple of weeks ago.
Sammy is coming on my channel this Sunday for an interview.
Is he doing it via Skype?
Yeah, well, actually, we'll be using StreamYard just like this.
I'm trying to get him. I had talked to him about it, and he watched a couple of my shows.
Nice.
And he's into it. So I hope that I'm able to get him at some point.
It was funny. I met him at Winter NAMM last year and had a nice chat with him. And I knew he was a stand-up guy because I think I met him the morning of day one. And you figure how many people they talk to each day. And I stopped back at the Friedman booth about 6 hours later. And he just came up to me. He goes, "Hey, Ben, how's your day going?" And I was like, wow, he remembered my name, And then this year, then I saw him, June of last year. He was at an event in Toronto. And I did an interview with him then and had a nice talk with him. And then when I saw him this year, I was like, "Hey, man, let's do a hangout." He goes, "Okay, text me the date." And I was like, "I don't have your phone number." And he got ticked at me. He's like, "Wait, you don't have my phone number? Here it is right now." And he's like, "Yeah, text me anytime, bud." I was like, "Okay."
Wow.
Which reminds me, I have to text him today to get his media links, sort of like how we were talking back and forth off air the last few days. I need to get all of his media links and stuff so I can set up the broadcast. So that should be a fun one.
Well, Sammy is a good guy, and he serious about what he's doing. He sounds great. He has his tone. The amp that Dave Friedman built for him is it's pretty sharp.
Oh yeah.
Pretty sharp.
Yeah, not that was funny. Well, you know, at NAMM they have the Friedman room, and there's always somebody shredding in there. So I walk in and I was like, I'm not playing in front of these guys. You know, these guys are too damn good. So it was early. I think it was Friday morning this year. I walk in and it's just Sammy, me, and a couple other guys that are having a conversation over in the corner. He goes, "All right, dude, here's your chance." So he hands me his Cali sitting there. "What amp do you want to play through?" So I was like, "Well, you know, we're here at NAMM 2020. Let's play through the new Jakey Lee amp." I think I played for a minute, maybe a minute and a half. And then a bunch of shredders came walking in. I'm like, "I'm good. There you go, Sammy." And he just starts laughing. He's like, "Oh, come on, man. You were doing good." And I was like, "Nah, man, I don't have anything on these guys. I'm just playing my Chuck Berry riffs, you know, type thing." But yeah, great guy, great products, man.
Well, Jakey Lee, did you ever hear the backstory of the video that Dave Friedman and Jakey Lee did together? And Jakey Lee was sitting in his shop in North Hollywood, California, and Jake gave shared a real interesting backstory to his amp.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just watching it, being a big Jakey Lee fan. I was watching it, and it was just interesting. Interesting that Jake was talking about how much he had gotten a loaner from Dave, took it to the whiskey in Hollywood,
Right.
where Red Dragon Cartel was playing, and he cranked it. He dimed it. And I'm thinking to myself, was he using a power attenuator?
Nope.
No.
Nope.
And he goes,
Well, put it without mentioning names. When Jake did his rig rundown for Premier Guitar, my buddy was the camera operator, and he said that was one of the loudest rig rundowns he's ever done.
I've seen that.
Because he runs those two stacks, you know, pointing away from each other, basically dimed, and he stands between them so he doesn't hear it. The singer gets blasted, side stage gets blasted. Yeah, that's Jake's style. And a buddy of mine saw them in Toronto last year, and he said as soon as they started, all he could hear was Jake on stage because it was overpowering the PA system even. Ironically, at that same rock pile club that I had played at. I told you, everybody plays there.
It was amazing when I heard Jake's amp, Friedman amp. I was like, how does Friedman do this? This sounds like tone for tone, exactly the produced, engineered tone that Jake was using to record Bark at the Moon.
Oh, I know. It's crazy, isn't it?
It's crazy, 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 crazy.
I believe I saw Dave at NAMM, and I called him some kind of wizard. When we were talking about his amp, they're like, "I don't know how you do it, Dave." I'm like, he's some kind of wizard. I don't know. And just kind of dismissed it, and he laughed.
I'm telling you, to actually have an amp, actually have Dave Friedman build you an amp, it's like, number one, you know that amp is just going to howl. And number two, you know you're going to have one of the best tones in the world.
And the nice thing about companies like that is if you have some kind of a problem, and it happened here, like, again, I'm in small town Ontario, Canada. Buddy actually lives 5 minutes from me. He was gigging through a Friedman, had a bit of a noise issue with it, so he sent off an email, and it's Dave Friedman himself that answers the emails. So if you have a problem, you're talking with Dave, and literally it was something like it was making a bit of a noise, and he's like, yeah, just make sure the third power tube is not loose. And sure enough, the third power tube had worked itself a little loose or something like that. But he knew right away, oh, it's making that sound? Oh, it's a loose tube. Oh, okay. And just after gigging for a number of years, I guess one of the tubes had rattled a bit loose. But it was a quick conversation with Dave, which was awesome.
That's amazing.
Yep.
That's totally amazing.
That's one thing I love about the music industry is the names we see on the products. Those names are still out there. You don't get that in the car industry. We're not still talking with Henry Ford or Mr. Chevrolet, but Brian Wampler is still around. Dave Friedman is still around.
Yeah.
With the exception of Orville Gibson and Leo Fender, everybody's still around type thing.
Well, it's amazing to be able, I find it very inspiring to listen to Dave's amps.
Oh yeah.
Just listening. There's some kind of sonic mojo that's coming out of the speakers.
Yep.
That it just inspires you. It makes you feel good.
Yeah. He knows exactly which frequencies to push for that sweet tone.
It's amazing. It's amazing. Have you ever tried any of his pedals?
I did try the one you have, the BEOD. It's quite nice. Unfortunately, Friedman pedals are awfully expensive in Canada. It's exchange rate plus a fee, so they're not the most affordable product. And honestly, I was all set to buy some Friedman pedals because, again, cheaper than buying a Friedman amp. But I actually hooked up with a pedal builder out of Arizona who does amazing Marshalls in a box as well. So I kind of moved on to that situation, which would be Lawrence Petros of Lawrence Petros Design. He and I, I'm at this point, I think I'm officially an endorsed artist by Lawrence Petros. So hey, Dwight Bailey, good to see you.
Oh, we have some people in the chat.
Yeah, we got to keep an eye on that Dwight guy, I tell you.
Dwight Bailey. Hey, Dwight, welcome back. How you doing this week? Happy Wednesday. You're listening to Ben Coombs from Canada.
Nice.
He's at work. He's going to listen as long as he can.
That's okay, Dwight. I'm at work too.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Thank you for being here, Dwight. It's always a pleasure. Always a pleasure to see you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to leave the chat open there. If you had the chance to have a sponsorship from any guitar, amp, pedal brand, who would it be?
Probably Friedman. Give me a Friedman vintage T and plug into a Friedman amp, and I'm pretty much set. Everything but modulation at that point.
Yeah, plug in straight in. It's I've heard a lot of good stories about that.
Yep. Other than that,
especially if it's a Friedman amp.
If I want to incorporate, because I do enjoy my pedals too. If that would be my basic setup would be Friedman. If I need to do a pedal board as well, I'll go with Fender, because then you can get a Tele, Fender amp, and some Fender pedals. If I need them.
How many pedals does Fender have out right now?
They got to be up to at least a dozen at this point, I think.
Wow.
And they're all good for the most part. I don't think I played a crappy one. The only thing I found was a couple of them was they were a good pedal, but a bit high on the price point. You know, it was one of those, if it was $40 cheaper, it'd be perfect. But that's me.
Wow.
Yeah, I always say I'm not cheap. I'm just cost effective.
You know what? That's the way you got to be, though. I've even heard George Lynch himself, not to mention any names. Sorry, George, but I've heard him say one of the very first things he ever says in an interview is, "Gotta keep your eyes on the money.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta watch that money. You gotta keep your eyes on the money."
Yep.
You know.
I was always that guy in the band. You know, much to the chagrin, usually there was always a band member that would go, "Ben, you're all about the money." I was like, "No, I'm just being professional. You know, I'm not out here doing charity work. You know, we're here to make a living at it." Because every time it'd be like, "Hey, we got offered a gig at this place." And my first comment every time was, "How many sets and how much money?"
Yeah, you know, you gotta be careful.
Yeah. Which, as a result, whenever I book gigs, usually we got paid about triple what the money that our bass player would book a gig on.
You gotta really be careful with that.
Yeah. Yeah, the old, I'm setting up the merch table early tonight. Why is that? I'm like, because we're not going to get paid by the venues that much. So we need gas money to get back home. So start putting out t-shirts and CDs and stickers and hats and all that fun stuff. Sell a bunch of merch and, you know, get some gas money.
So on the conversation of merch, well, before I talk about that, what would you say is have you ever had good or bad experiences with wireless units?
Yeah. The bad being the battery dying in the wireless unit halfway through a set. The good would be the fact that with wireless, I was able to go out and I used to do this thing where, you know, every venue has more than one entrance for fire code, right? So I used to like to do during one song was jump off the front of the stage, walk through the crowd, right out through the door of the venue, walk around the building, come back in the backstage door, and come out on stage halfway through the song. The problem with that is trying to keep the timing of the song in your head, because as soon as you get outside, you can't hear the damn band anymore, and there's a bit of lag. So my bandmates, as a joke, would sometimes stop the song halfway through. So then I'd come in the door playing at full stage volume just by myself. You know, come out stage, everyone's laughing, and they're like, "Aha," you know, and I don't mind being the butt of a joke. So it was all in good jest. But also, wireless is handy in case you need to make a bathroom emergency in between songs. I finished up playing a song in the bathroom before. I'm like, all right, and they know. They're like, all right, Ben's in the bathroom. Let's talk to the crowd for a couple of minutes.
That's wonderful. I was just wondering. There's some wireless units out there that, well, the new technology. Okay, Boss, for instance, the new technology like the WL60,
right?
And I have the WL20 right down here charging by my feet. Even as we speak, I'm looking at the green light, see when it's charged. That pretty impressive. Pretty impressive. The modern technology.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to tone suck like it used to. You used to lose a lot of tone in wireless. To the point where that was one of the times I ran an EQ was click in the wireless, hear the difference in tone, cue your, push your EQ accordingly to compensate for the frequencies you're losing. And then it's like, oh, I got to go hardwired. Okay, turn off the EQ pedal to compensate. Oh, man, yeah. That, and these days, I kind of stay away from it because there's so much wireless stuff that I find you get interference.
So what are the pedals that you have on your pedal board now?
Oh, Christ. Well, first of all, the pedal board is constantly changing. That's something to keep in mind. But right now I'm looking at a Boss volume pedal, Outlaw Effects tuner, their 6-shooter tuner. Thank you, Outlaw Effects. Lawrence Petros designed Lost Dutchman, which is kind of like a Timmy. I got a Zen Drive, Lawrence Petros Vermin, which is his take on a rat, only better. His 87, which is like a Jose modded JCM Marshall.
Yeah.
MXR stereo chorus, MXR carbon copy, and a little drum looper as well for writing. So that's the board for now. It's getting rebuilt in the next couple of weeks because honestly, I'm looking, there's only one modulation pedal on there. And I'm the guy that usually has a chorus, a phaser, and a flanger all on the board. I love my modulation.
I'm finding myself, yeah, modulation's great. But have you ever gotten into the new Line 6 gear?
I don't do Line 6. I've seen too much of their products fall apart on stage. I'm sure it's better now, but my God, those 100-watt Line 6 heads back in the day, there's always some kid opening for me. 18 months, that head rattles apart and just cut out. And the amount of times I've lent gear to some young guy that had a Line 6 100-watt head, forget about it. The Helix stuff is nice, but not my bag at all. I like physical pedals, analog, tube amp. Screw the haters. Hey, Sean Zimmerman.
What's that?
We got Sean Zimmerman in the chat.
John Zimmerman. John Zimmerman. Is that on Facebook?
No, I'm seeing him in the chat here.
I don't see him.
There we go. It just added into StreamYard. I have both chat. I got the YouTube chat and the StreamYard chat open just because I know from hosting my own shows, it's always delayed getting in the StreamYard.
That's cool. Hey, Sean, how you doing? Thank you for being in today, man. Thanks for stopping by.
Yeah, Sean's a good guy.
I never liked Line 6 anyway. Thought they were cheap. Sean, are you a fractal guy? Do you like fractal? Kemper?
My problem with, the biggest problem I have with that stuff is they're all mimicking or modeling somebody else. But if we don't have guys like Lawrence Petros building the pedal in the first place, then Helix has nothing to base their modeling off of. There's no original stuff. It's all just reproduced stuff.
Well, have you ever heard did you get a chance to check out the Synergy modules?
Yeah, we checked them out, the Steve Vai one and the Friedman ones this year at NAMM. The Vai one I liked better than the Friedman one. The Friedman one was good, but after playing an actual Friedman amp and then I plugged into it, I was just like, nope, I hear a difference. Not a lot of difference, but it wasn't as... It would be like if you played the Friedman amp on 8, you plug in the Synergy and it sounds like it's on 6.5. It just wasn't quite there. I don't know what it was. Dang, Sean. I hear you, man.
Well, nah, really, Sean, feel better, man. That sucks. Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, Sean's been battling some kidney issues for a couple of years, like since I've known him, so he's always in my thoughts.
Yeah, you're a soldier, Sean. Good man. And
Dwight likes using pedals into amps as well. Of course you do, Dwight. That's why you watch me. No, I'm kidding, Dwight.
Well, thank you for being here, Sean. It means a great deal. Dwight, hey Sean Zinnerman, do you have diabetes? Yeah, that's pretty hard. It's pretty hard.
Yep.
The talking about with the Friedman amps,
Mm-hmm.
you were saying that you feel after plugging straight into Jake's Friedman and then plugging in over at the Synergy exhibit to the Friedman module that there was just something missing.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know what it was. I just didn't feel the mojo. That's the only way I can put it. I didn't feel it.
The power section,
Yep.
the power to
Excuse me.
output transformers. That's what you're missing.
Exactly. Like, I don't mind noise in my signal, stuff like that. I get that a lot. It's so noisy. I'm like, well, I'm running high gain and single coils. What do you expect? I don't care. Well, put a noise gate on it. Pfft, noise gate, that's no fun.
I hear you. So did you do you care for reverb much?
Oh yeah, always use reverb.
What's your
Reverb,
favorite,
slapback delay.
what's your favorite kind of reverb to use?
Pretty much whatever's in the amps. I think I do have a reverb pedal. That's escaping me because it's on a pedal board somewhere, and I lost the bloody pedal board during my move. Yeah, because I'm the guy that misses an entire pedal board. It's somewhere in here, but it has a reverb pedal on it. But generally Fender reverbs. I want to get into. I need to get a reverb pedal that has some shimmer. I want to get into trying some shimmer verb, or also a good drip reverb for the surf rock stuff. I really like the drip reverbs as well.
And who makes that?
That's a good question. I got to research it. I don't know. I just know I want it. Like most of the guys I really like that do the nice shimmer verbs, I'm like, what are you running it through? They're like, a Strymon. I'm like, can I have something a little more affordable than a Strymon, please?
Let me tell you, TC Electronics, another company that I use myself, that I love. That's one of my dream sponsorships.
Right.
Friedman, Rock and Roll Relics, TC Electronics.
I was thinking about getting the Hall of Fame because I know it does a lot of different verbs and be handy to have. I don't know why I haven't got one.
Well, I'll tell you that TC Electronic reverbs are, I have yet to really hear reverbs that that sound as authentic. For some reason, TC Electronics reverbs, maybe it has to do with, me growing up on Led Zeppelin and Pink Floyd.
Sure.
TC Electronic reverb, that's always been part of that whole genre of music.
Right.
And it's just really simply the best reverbs in the world. I actually, however, I don't have a TC reverb. I have a couple of TC delays, but I don't have a TC reverb. I have some TC modulation. The reverbs I've been using basically for my practicing are the reverb of good, rich plate reverb on my Boss Katana.
Nice.
And, it's like, and for recording, I've been using the Altura
Okay.
reverb plugin.
I tried to use some plate verbs in pedal form. Unfortunately, because I don't run through the effects loop, that I was overpowering it. So you get this weird, almost auto wah effect. So, excuse me. It was pushing it too hard, so it was doing an auto wah effect just because I really pushed the front end amps hard. I'm stacking gain stages and all that fun stuff. Hey, Six String Brian, that guy who likes Les Pauls is in here.
Brian, how you doing? Thanks for being here. I love your nav videos. You have some killer coverage, man. It's wonderful. Wonderful. I'm a Les Paul guy. Hey, ESP Mike is here. Hey, ESP Mike.
Hey, ESP Mike. Good to meet you.
What I normally do is at the beginning of each show, I like to thank my PayPal donors.
Always. If it wasn't for them, it'd make things a lot harder.
And ESP Mike will be the very first one that I mention. ESP Mike very kindly sent me a distortion pedal that I've never heard of before, and I plugged into it. It was off of Amazon, and I plugged into it, and I mean, this little mini pedal just screamed. I couldn't believe it. I was like, wow. So I will always be thankful for ESP Mike. Plus also Dimbola Blade Works in Victoria, Australia. He's one of my PayPal donors, and I am so grateful. So grateful. Design 39 Media and a couple other folks.
Mm-hmm.
It's really because of my viewers. It's because of the people that show up every week in my chat, like Sean Zinnerman and ESP Mike, Dwight Bailey.
Hey, Harmony.
Harmony's here too. Hi, Harmony. Harmony, what's going on? Thank you, Harmony. I hope you're feeling better, Harmony, and I hope all is well. Harmony's the best. Harmony's always sharing.
Nice. All right. I have a question for you, Will.
Please.
How did you find out about me?
How did I find out about you? Well, I saw you on Facebook, and I saw that you were a guitar player, and I need guests for my show.
Fair enough.
Pretty much that's how I found out about you.
I think you're the first person to say you found out about me through Facebook. Usually it's all YouTube.
Oh, really?
Well, 700 videos.
Yeah, you've done more than me. That's wonderful.
Well, for a while there, I was doing a video a day for months on end, and that kind of wears you down. I'm back to a video a day now just because I'm trying to get all my NAMM stuff out. So I think today was, a brief video with myself and Rabia Masad. So that was fun. Did one with Six String Brian.
Oh, you met Rabia.
Yep. Yeah, I met him last year for the first time. Obviously, just shook hands, took a photo, but this time I went outside to get some air, and he was just sitting there. So I just sat down. We started talking. I was like, "Do you mind if I start the camera?" He's like, "No, go ahead." So it was only like a minute and a half of us hanging out together, part of probably a 10-minute conversation. But I get it too. He was busy. I was busy. And it's just like, you don't want to have a camera in your face the whole time, but just a little something to capture the moment, which was fun.
He seems like a pretty upstanding guy, man.
Yeah. Super nice. Super humble.
He's cool. I watch his videos a lot. And one of the things that he did a demo on, which is something that I wanted to with Cher as far as pedals go and pedal board concepts, pedal board ideas in that vein was Rabia. He he did a demo video from his home on the Two Notes Cab M.
Mm-hmm.
I did some investigating on that pedal because I was just curious. I was just curious. And this is what I found out. And I was blown away. I was like, because I had been familiar with the Two Notes Wall of Sound. That's another company I'd love to be associated with.
Sure.
And I was familiar with that because thanks to Steve Stevens. And I saw his video from his home studio in Hollywood, demoing the Two Notes Wall of Sound.
Sure.
And that's how I got introduced to Two Notes. So when I saw Revera's video, I was like, man, I gotta check this out. Now there's a Two Notes device for the pedal board.
I played through a few of them now. A lot of guys at NAMM shows are putting them at the end of a pedal board, so you can just use the headphone out, right? So that every booth doesn't have to have an actual amp to test pedals on. So, yeah, they're cool. For what they are, they're very cool. Two Notes does some really good products. Obviously tied in with Rev. It's a good partnership between those two divisions, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. Well, Two Notes with the Cab M, I found out, number one, there's these killer cabinet cab sims on there. There's these killer mic sims on there also. And there's also, this is the thing that sold me on the pedal. They're power amp sims. So when you I could take any one of my Friedman pedals, run it straight into the Two Notes Cab amp, turn on the power capabilities on the Two Notes Cab M,
right,
and run direct. I don't even need an amp on stage anymore. And it's like, when I realized that, I was like, no way, really? So then I did some more investigating. I thought, wait a minute, if there's a power amp section on this pedal, is there anything else?
Right.
So I did some more investigating, and what did I find? Some lush reverbs.
Nice.
And I was like, I'm sold.
Sure.
That's amazing. Could take your favorite distortion, your favorite overdrive pedal, and run it straight into the front end of the Two Notes Cab amp pedal, turn on the power amp functionality, pick your favorite reverb, and you're good to go. And run.
Yeah, you just go straight to front house from that.
Yeah. Pretty amazing. So that leads me to the next thing. If you add your we were talking about Dream Gear. So tell me, Ben, if you could come up with a pedal idea for a manufacturer, with all the pedals that you've tried, with all the pedals that you demoed, and the pedals you checked out, what would be your contribution to the pedal world?
Well, funny you mention that, because I've actually been in the design phase of designing a pedal for the last few months, which we're hoping to announce by Summer NAMM, with Lawrence Petros design, LPD pedals, plug. And what it is a pedal designed for the guy that shows up where the back line is provided. And for the stuff I was getting into, and I've been playing a lot more retro, and by retro I'm talking rockabilly type stuff. And so as such, you need certain things. The one thing that is missing from the pedal is a delay, but it is right now 2 sections. I'm trying to rework it into 3, although Lawrence is like, dude, the housing's going to be too big otherwise. But it's right now a tremolo circuit, optical tremolo, and a reverb in one, because a lot of amps come with reverb that are, supplied backline amps, like the Blues Deluxe has a nice reverb.
Yes.
But it doesn't have tremolo. And a lot of amps don't have tremolo these days. And a lot of amps don't have reverb these days. So the idea is you can stick this in the effects loop. There's your trem. There's your reverb. I also want to incorporate a low gain overdrive into the front of it as well. That can be used as a lead boost or what have you. But yeah, basically tremolo and reverb in a pedal. And because it goes at the end of your signal chain, the working title is the end of the line pedal.
That's pretty amazing.
Yep.
I wish you luck with that. Are you going to try and get the patent on that?
Yeah. Basically, that's all Lawrence. I let him take care of that. I just do the design thing, and then I'm like, you figure it out. You got to do the breadboard. So Lawrence is pretty busy right now keeping up with pedal orders, so we had to put it on the back burner until after Winter NAMM. So actually, I'm due to get on the phone with him later today to discuss it, because he's got a couple of things in the works. And when he finds time, I told him it's not high priority. I'm not Jakey Lee, so I'm not expecting to sell 1 million of these things, but it'd be something cool. We just started talking. He's like, if you can come up with something original, let's do it. But Lawrence is the type of guy, I'm not going to just build another DS1 or his take on a DS1. He likes to do really original stuff. A few of his things are emulated, like the Vermin is similar to a Rat, but what he did was he took everything we don't like in the Proco Rat pedal and changed it. And so it's a nod to it, but you plug it in, you're like, whoa, why is this so much better? Well, he did, like I say, he took out all the stuff we don't like about the Rat.
Well, I'd love to hear it when it comes out, when it's fully developed and the prototypes come out. I'd love to hear it.
Awesome. Well, I do appreciate it. There will be demos and all that fun stuff. Believe me, I will be promoting the hell out of this pedal when it comes out. So, and I'm happy to work with Lawrence. I was lucky enough to meet him at Winter NAMM last year. He was there hanging with Phil McKnight. I was there with my buddy JJ, and Phil and we stood there and talked for a half hour, 45 minutes, which, as you know, that's a lot of time at a NAMM show that you're taking out of someone's day.
Yeah.
And for him to do that, we were talking a lot of YouTube and stuff. I didn't talk to Lawrence a whole lot at that time, but we exchanged information. About a month later, I had Lawrence on my channel for a hangout, and it was one of those deals. We got off air and talked for another 2 hours and just became fast friends. And now we talk, 3-4 times a week on average. He's always bouncing ideas and stuff, or, what does this logo look like? How do you like this design? Sending me up stuff to demo, try out, what have you. And it's kind of cool. I'm not going to lie. It's kind of cool being a beta tester for pedals.
Well, what I really like to see is a pedal come out, be around for a while, get used, and then I like to see companies take that pedal and make a rack space out of it. Back in the day, in the 80s, like when people like Steve Vai had refrigerators full of racks, a lot of those pieces were single. single units.
Yeah, a
Single,
lot of singles. I know. I still have my Alesis Quadriverb.
Elisa's Quadriverb. I have one of those.
Yeah. And man, you can pick up rack gear so cheap these days. It's not even funny. You're paying 10 cents on the dollar, it seems.
That's wow.
I don't even remember what I paid for that Quadriverb. It wasn't much. I think $60, $70 or something like that. I don't know.
Well, there's a YouTuber. His name is Michael Nielsen.
Yep.
Have you ever seen his channel?
Yep.
He's got all this killer old school 80s killer rack gear in his studio and does videos. And I'll be honest with you, until I met Michael Nielsen, I had forgot about a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
My thinking went from Alesis and Rocktron to that's when I met TC Electronics for the very first time.
Right.
Was right at that time in the early 90s. And realized that the company's name was TC Electronics, realized that this is like the reverbs and the choruses that I've been listening to my whole entire life.
And do you know one of the first bands that toured with TC Electronics rack gear?
Pink Floyd.
That's one of them. Def Leppard, the Hysteria tour. TC all over that. Steve Clark would have been a TC Electronics artist had he not passed away.
Yes.
Because at that time, nobody was really an effects artist, right? You had your guitar endorsement, your amp endorsement, but not many people were directly involved with effects companies. But doing some research a few years ago on Steve Clark, I didn't realize how heavily involved he was with all the rack chorus stuff and all that. Yeah, tri-choruses and such.
I'm telling you, it's TC Electronics. What I'm looking at right now, while we're talking about TC Electronics, I have two modules sitting on the back of my desk that have the TC Electronics 1210 Classic Reverb, or 8210 Classic Reverb.
That's a classic.
And the TC Electronics 1210 Spatial Expander.
Nice. Good substitute for TC rack gear, the third dimension.
Yeah.
I picked this up last year, and this was on my board for about 8 months straight. It only came off the board when I got the MXR stereo chorus just last week. This finally came off my board. Because it gets sounds that I just can't do with my Boss CE2. And I love the Boss CE2. But
that's legendary.
Yeah, this thing, ooh, yeah. Do enjoy my modulation.
The choruses on that pedal right there are just mind-blowing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, really good for getting your mid-80s Van Halen modulated tones. Oh, forget about it.
So tell me, Ben, who are some of your musical heroes, your musical influences in your playing and your taste in music?
Well, you can't see it, but I do have Jimmy Page's Les Paul tattooed down my arm. So definitely Jimmy Page is there. The big three that got me started was my dad, Ace Frehley, and Eddie Van Halen, because Ace and Eddie looked like they were having so much fun up on stage, smiling away. Later on, definitely Izzy Stradlin was a big influence. Ronnie Wood. Who else? Those guys definitely are. Rick Richards, another huge influence. Mike Campbell. You might see a theme, a lot of sidemen, over the years. Ronnie Wood, like say Izzy Stradlin. Everyone's looking at Slash. I'm looking at Izzy. Everyone's looking at Keith Richards. I'm looking at Ronnie Wood. Even like say Rick Richards, he was the backbone of the Georgia Satellites, and he's been Izzy's guitar player ever since the Georgia Satellites broke up, pretty much. So,
yeah.
Those are the main guys I'd say, just off the top of my head. Oh, and Steve Clark as well. For all the flash that Phil Collen does in Def Leppard, I always like the Steve Clark riffs and solos.
Speaking of Def Leppard, when did you first get turned on to Def Leppard's music?
Probably my buddy playing me the Pyromania album around 1984, 85. We were just young enough. We had missed out on Pyromania, but then when Hysteria hit, I went, "Oh, wow, new album." And for such a big album that Hysteria was, most people don't realize it was a bit of a flop when it was first released. The first single, I believe, was Women, which was honestly a bit weak. And at that time, cassette tapes were all about $10 a piece here. And I walked in the summer of, I believe, 88, and I picked it up for $6.95 because they had already discounted the album to blow them out. They brought a bunch in, and they weren't selling. Then, of course, the next couple of singles, Rocket and Animal, just took off, and all of a sudden, boom, the album doubled in price overnight. It went up to like $12 instead of 10 because they could charge a premium for it. But I was like, yeah, I got it in right away. I remember listening to that. Actually, 87 even, maybe. It was 87. Because I remember having the cassette in 8th grade and getting confiscated because I was listening to Def Leppard in class all the time.
My biggest thing was definitely Zeppelin. And the deal with that, it goes back a very long ways, actually, when I'm Scottish heritage.
Okay.
And I went to Scotland. I went to Loch Ness.
Mm-hmm.
And at that same exact time, unbeknownst to me, Jimmy Page owned Inverness Castle.
Right.
And he had Boleskine down on the southern shores of Loch. Unbeknownst to me, he was around, well, more or less, at one time or another around those parts. I didn't know that. And a very wonderful, wonderful, wonderful experience happened to me while I was at Loch Ness. And my sister and I went cruising up there in a pouring rainstorm. And the sky was black. And I mean, it was definitely questioning ourselves why we're driving on this hillside road in this pouring rainstorm, but we're going to get to Loch Ness. We got to see Loch Ness. We're going.
Sure.
So we got there, and I mean, the sky was black, and the water, you couldn't even see the water because there was this big blanket of fog that was covering the water. So the most interesting thing happened. My sister went up into the tower of Urquhart Castle, Urquhart Bay, because that's where we had motored to. And I was right there off the banks of the water. My sister went up, I went down, and I remember sticking my head in the water. And when I did that, I heard this grunting 3 separate times. And when I flipped my head back out of the water, the fog was gone, the sun was out, the birds were singing. It was crazy. And at that same time, I'd met the owner of the Inverness pub. where I'd spent the night before hanging out and getting to know the people and everything.
Sure.
And he had told me that Inverness Castle was off limits. That's why the castle was black. Castle sits up on a hillside.
Right.
The castle was black. And there were these purple lights pushing up on the castle that was black, darkness, enclosed in darkness. And I was told, don't go up there, don't go up there, don't go up there. So a couple of weeks after coming back from our trip to Europe to Scotland, Scotland was our last stop. I had read in a Hit Parader magazine, because I used to have Hit Parader and Circus. Do you remember?
Oh, yeah.
That? And the article, Jimmy Page was on the front cover of Hit Parader. And in the article, it was talking about the property that he owns in Scotland. I was like, are you kidding me?
No kidding.
Where in Scotland? I'm thinking to myself, where in Scotland,
Right.
I kept reading Loch Ness, and I was like, wow, man, he could have actually been around when I was there.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
And then I investigated it further and found out he owned Inverness Castle.
Very cool.
And that he also owned Boleskine at the same time.
Right.
Boleskine House, that mysteriously there was a fire that broke out a couple of years ago, and the house was burned on the inside.
Okay.
The outside wasn't touched. Part of the roof, part of the ceiling was burned up, and the inside of the house was completely torched.
Wow.
And as far as I know, that was a couple of years ago. As far as I know, it's still in ruins now.
Crazy. Hey, there's Johnny Bean in the chat.
Oh,
What's up,
Johnny here. So that's the reason why Jimmy Page is so important to me.
Well, the big thing for me with Page was with his catalog of music, there was something for every mood you're in, whether it was a hard rockin' song like, say, the Immigrant Song, or a mellow song like That's the Way, or, Tangerine, or something like that. They covered so much territory with that band, so I really bonded with them in that respect. Hey, Cutter Savage. Good to see you.
Cutter's here?
It'll come up eventually. There it is.
Cutter. What is going on, brother? How you doing? Cutter Savage is one of the most genuine, wonderful people that I could ever call my friend.
Nice.
He is good people. Good people. As a matter of fact, Cutter has some new music that he's putting together. And when it all comes to fruition, he's going to come back on my show and do a 3-day music release.
Oh, wow.
It's going to be a series of three days. We're going to cover every song on his release and promote.
That's the way you got to do it.
And I can't wait. I talked to Cutter, and I talk quite a bit, share guitars, and he's a good dude. Very
Nice.
good. So what do you like? Is there anything you like specifically? Is there anything that is burning on your mind, Ben, as Are there any companies that you would give out to?
Sorry, what was that? It broke up for a sec.
Okay. Are there any companies that you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah. I want to obviously shout out my buddies Lawrence Petros and Rob Welch from Tessie Switch. Look for some stuff coming up from both those companies on my channel, as well as Outlaw Effects. Those guys have been good to me since day one. Canadian company. They took a chance on a YouTuber with about 300 subscribers and was willing to send him a pedal to demo. So thanks, Outlaw Effects, definitely. I'm waiting to hear back on them on some stuff. But big thing is just continuing on in 2020. Just keep doing what I'm doing. Interviewing folks, product demos, weekly Q&A, stuff like that. Just meeting, growing the community, which hopefully will grow the channel as well at the same time. Hey, there's JJ. What up, you guitar freak? It's my good buddy JJ, who I was staying with at NAMM.
Oh, hey, JJ, how you doing? Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. I don't believe I've ever met you yet. My name is Will. This is my domicile, Artist Talk, and broadcasting live from Dreamland Studios. And I'm very pleased to meet you. Welcome to the show. Thank you very much for being here.
Good guy. Got some great gear. Yeah, perfect combination. Awesome. But yeah, other than that, yeah, just keep doing what we're doing, and hopefully it keeps growing. And as that happens, things expand. Like we were discussing at the top of the show, NAMM was really good on a variety of things. So expect to see a lot more product demos on various gear coming out on the channel over the next few weeks. It's been a slew of emails, so I'm at that point right now, emailing. Like I think I spend 2 hours a day answering and sending emails. So,
well, that's cool, man. So, what are your goals to grow your social media besides the product demos and getting yourself out there? What else?
That's pretty much it. Just keep growing the social media. YouTube is the main focus. Definitely. Just continue to get my name out there, work with companies, and then if I'm not too busy with that, I'd like to definitely get some recording done this year, and probably start a new band. I want to get back out gigging. I haven't played out in a while. So last time was, I think, the end of October. I filled in with a band for one night, and that was the last time I was on stage, and I miss it. So I don't miss load in and load out. That I don't miss, but I do miss the actual playing on stage.
Well, have you ever had a chance to check out well, there's a YouTube channel. There's a YouTube channel that I'm checking out. Actually, I first heard about the Boss Katana.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, there's just so many people. Definitely, everybody, please follow me on Facebook. Give me a thumbs up. Twitter, KingWill777. I'm starting to post more on my Instagram again. Please check that out. And if you'd like to support what I'm doing, my musical vision, and my musical vision very simply is to touch as many people as I can and leave a positive impact on the guitar world.
Exactly.
That's why I'm doing this. I'm not doing this to get rich, and I'm not doing this to line my pockets. I'm doing this because I care about music and I care about people that care about music. And that's why I'm doing this. And I'm looking for sponsors, backers who are going to be willing to take a chance on me and my vision to help me do this. And I want to be like the mighty Tyrannosaurus Rex. I want to leave deep footprints.
Nice.
So that people know that I was here. And I want to be positive influence. That's very important to me.
I agree. Good luck on your gig this Friday, JJ. I'm expecting to see video on it, although I've heard the set. The set, to quote him, is killer. Great stuff. Johnny's going to be jamming up in Oakland. That's awesome.
Yes.
Hearing Johnny play. And dinner with Johnny and JJ during NAMM was awesome. Try the clam chowder.
I'll tell you, I'm really glad that you had a chance to go. That is so. I'm glad. Hopefully next year I'll be there. And
nice. I see Six String Brian's asking about Summer NAMM. Right now, I would say that's 50-50 with me. It's just a matter of getting down there. I'm totally set once I get down there. I got a place to crash and everything. So, but definitely I'm trying to get down there. And Johnny, you are always starving. As long as I know Johnny, he's always starving.
Well, I've had Johnny on my show twice.
Nice.
And we always end up talking about In-N-Out.
Oh.
Go to In-N-Out.
Yep.
Gotta get some lunch.
I had In-N-Out. Let me think. It was the Wednesday before NAMM. We stopped at In-N-Out. Love it. Gotta have it every trip to California. I gotta have some In-N-Out.
Gotta have In-N-Out. Very important. There's some new companies that, well, one company that is causing a big stir.
Mm-hmm.
That I saw it now. And I haven't seen any demo videos of this product yet. And I'm sure it's priced right out of my wallet, but it looks pretty good, and supposedly neural DSP.
I knew you were going to say that because that's the talk in NAMM. Yeah, it's quite the product. I don't know what the street price on it, but I haven't heard anything negative about it, put it that way. Everybody I talked to that tried it was like, oh man, this thing's awesome. So, yeah, I'm curious to see. I think that's going to be definitely one of the products of 2020. I think by this time next year, it's going to be a given that it's just a piece of gear that everyone knows and loves. Personally, I think some of the standouts from Winter NAMM, the Camo Flange from Thorpe is awesome. Robert Keeley's Echoes pedal, awesome. And from Zach over at Mythos, there was the Lark, which is Rhett Shull's pedal, really cool. RJ's Susmeriosa, that's very cool pedal, but also his Oracle delay. Oh, awesome pedal. So look for some stuff as well on my channel involving Mythos pedals this year too. Zach's a great guy out of Nashville.
So what are you more of a boutique pedal type of player? Or
I am now. I got spoiled. I'm not gonna lie, Will. I was okay with cheap pedals. Then I started using some boutique stuff, and I get why they cost twice as much as a cheap pedal, or more. Your $40 pedal versus your $400 pedal. I hear the difference. It's like, like I say, you plug in a $50 pedal, and there's a lot of good ones out there. And you're like, wow, this sounds really good. But then you plug in the one that is the same thing that costs 10 times as much, and you're like, ooh. It's sort of like we were discussing earlier between playing the Friedman amp as opposed to the Friedman Synergy module. Yeah, they cover a lot of the same territory, but they're not quite the same.
Wow, $400. I don't think I've ever played through a $400 pedal yet.
A lot of put it this way, a lot of that stuff, that range of that 279 to 299 US, that's all $400 Canadian here.
Yes.
So, between exchange rate and duty fees and stuff, like a Friedman BEOD, you're looking at the better part of 400 Canadian. So
it's 9:30 here. Haven't had breakfast. Johnny, eat breakfast, dude.
Johnny will probably have a yogurt. That's my guess.
Yeah, is that true? You like yogurt, Johnny? So do I.
I just know Johnny.
That's Johnny's great, man.
He is.
Johnny's a wonderful guy. He really is.
Yep.
If
it wasn't for Johnny, I wouldn't be doing this, honestly. He gave me a lot of help starting out with YouTube and stuff. And hell, I think I've been doing YouTube for 3 weeks, and Johnny had me on his channel, which was awesome. Lost 5 pounds thanks to Namthrax. Dude, that sucks. I hope you're going to be better soon, man.
Lost 5 pounds thanks to Namthrax.
Can you afford to lose 5 pounds, Johnny? I think I found your 5 pounds from Nam. I think in beer weight alone, Jesus. I don't drink a whole lot, but man, at Nam, want to grab a drink? Want to grab a drink? Want to grab? Yeah, okay, sure. I suppose I could say no, but where's the fun in that?
So were you fortunate? Were you fortunate enough, Ben, to be invited to NAMM by a company?
I was there representing Flipside Music out of Denver, Colorado. They're one of my channel sponsors. So unfortunately, none of the Flipside guys could make it to NAMM this year. So myself, JJ, and my buddy Aaron from the band Albus out of Chicago area, the three of us were the official Flipside Music street team.
Oh, there you go.
So we're out there. We're all rocking the Flipside shirts one day. And last year I was there courtesy of another channel supporter from FU Tone, Adam Reaver. Thanks, Adam. So I was representing FU Tone or Boogie Bodies last year at NAMM. So, and expect some more stuff involving FU Tone coming up on the channel too. I just released yesterday the Hex Hider key demo came out yesterday. A little hex key tool for your locking trem systems. Really cool.
Yeah. Adam Reaver, man.
He's a hell of a guy. Nice guy. Super nice.
He's amazing. That's another person that really inspired me when I first started to get into all this social media stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's FU Tone.
Yep.
I don't have any Floyd Rose guitars. I've got my trusty Les Paul Rosie and got an acoustic. I don't have any Floyd Rose guitars. I'm hoping to. I've been really checking out the new Kramer line.
Well, and, speaking of Kramer, and again, I blame Johnny Bean for this, because as you know, I'm a Telly player. But I picked this up a couple of years ago.
Oh, look at that.
So, yep. My one Floyd guitar, because you never know. It's handy to have around the studio if I need it. And this thing is getting a few more upgrades to it. So go figure, Adam. And that's awesome. Johnny's getting 2 of those hex tools as well. Yeah, they're super handy. Thanks, Cutter. And this thing, brass block, noiseless springs. I don't know what else we're going to do with it yet. So,
well,
yes, it is, Cutter. Focus 6000, which I believe Johnny said is an 86.
What kind of pickups are in there, Ben?
Duncan JB, and then stock Seymour Duncan designed in the neck.
Is that an FU Tone bridge?
No, German Floyd Rose, but it does have a D-tuna on it because you got to have your D-tuna.
Yeah.
The first product I ever got from Adam. Actually, no, sorry. Second product. The first product I ever got from Adam was a set of his pickups.
Adam's a stand-up dude, man. Cutter's asking you, is that is a Kramer Focus?
Yes, it is. And yep, Johnny used to have a black one and a red one like this.
I'll tell you, the Kramer, it's so good to see Kramer Guitars making a comeback. And I remember the Kramer Night Swan.
Mm-hmm.
I remember the Kramer Beretta. I had a Kramer Striker.
Nice.
And I had a Duncan pickup in it. Or was it a DiMarzio Super Distortion? And I had unfortunately forgotten all about Kramer guitars until Kramer started making a comeback. And then when I saw the Jersey Star,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, okay, I remember that guitar.
Yep.
And it was very, very, very impressive.
Cutter is asking, is the bridge bottomed out with the body for the D-Tuna instead of floating? Yes, the Floyd is decked on it. That's one of the reasons I put the D-Tuna on, is they don't like to work with floating trems. And I personally, I don't like a floating trem because I like the palm mute.
You know, interesting question, Cutter. Interesting. Very interesting thought, Cutter Savage. What I'm wondering now is if Adam Reaver over at futone.com is going to devise a component that's going to work with the floating system.
He does. You just have to put a trem stop in.
I've seen him do a few guitars with trem stops. I've seen him install them.
Or a trem lock or trem stop. I can't remember the wording of his product. Johnny, the new Kramers are the best they've been since the 80s. I totally agree. Yes, Six String Brian. I believe on my Facebook page there is some video from me doing the demo badly. I butchered that demo session, but I tried. So yeah, a few songs on there. I was playing a little travel guitar type thing in the demoing Lawrence's pedals at NAMM. And shout out to Bootlegger Guitars for use of the guitar and amp for that performance. And there's some more involving Bootlegger because I got to get on the horn with Bootlegger Guitars actually right after we end this. So they're out of California, actually.
Yeah. So what would you say if you had any advice to a brand new YouTuber, somebody just getting started and wasn't quite sure what they were doing, is learning like trial and error. What would you suggest? How would you advise them in contacting companies?
I would say not to contact companies right away. Step one, like if we're talking demos, step one, have fun. You got to have fun doing it. Just remember, this is YouTube. It's not network television. So, you don't need to have 5 camera angles, full production. Sure, it's nice, but it's not required. Get some product out there, demo your own gear first, go through all your gear, demo all your gear, get those videos out there, have a presence, get some views, because when you're dealing with a company, they want to know what your demographics are, what your reach is, how does it benefit the company? Because if you're going to put out a video and only 10 people are going to see the demo of this product, the company's not going to give you a product or pay you to do a demo for 10 people. And they look at things like subscriber count for some reason. Although I don't look at subscriber counts as much as reach, because honestly, when it comes to product demos, you're getting many more views from non-subscribers than you are from your subscribers. So the big thing is, yeah, have some numbers out there, view counts, demographics. That's the big thing. I found, like, I was talking with Friedman about that. Our good mutual friend Caleb Rappaport of the Mighty Nerd Halen, awesome gig last night. He introduced me to some of the corporate side of Friedman Amps, Mr. Bingham, the president. And that was his first thing. He's like, what are your numbers? So I have YouTube Studio app on my phone. So I just opened up the studio and I'm like, here's what my numbers are. And he said, okay. And he said, what were they last year? I told him. So basically he said, come back and talk to me next Winter NAMM, because based off projections, I might be able to do something with them in another year. So, hey, Mark Taylor. Hello, Frozen Fury.
Hi, Mark. How you doing, Mark? Thanks for being here today.
Mark's a cool dude.
Yes, he's a great dude. Mark was actually a big shout out goes to Mark Taylor. He sent me a couple of his signature picks.
Nice.
Yeah.
From Mark, I've known Mark since, before I even started the channel, I think. I met Mark probably in Johnny's chat. And Mark and I have we've been around that stuff. Yeah, the YouTube world. Well, he's been around longer than I have. Great guy. Thanks for all the support as well, Mark. I appreciate it.
Definitely.
I don't know Frozen Fury, but hello, Frozen Fury. Great to meet you. I always like meeting new people in the chats. Please subscribe to both of us.
Yep, for sure. Definitely please subscribe. Please share the stream, and hopefully we'll be able to touch someone's life, be positive impact, make a positive change in someone's life.
That's what I'm all about. Spread that positive vibes, karma. Put the good out there. The good will come back to you. That's
what I'm all about as well, Ben. That's the whole reason why I'm doing this.
Yep.
Well, I appreciate your time today, Ben, and I appreciate you hanging out.
Hey, I appreciate you inviting me on. This has been fun.
Thank you, Ben. And I notice you're wearing an orange shirt. Yes.
Let's see. There's an orange amp right there. A little micro dark terror. And I have a practice orange amp. I'm pointing off to another room. My workshop, I got a little orange amp in there as well. And thanks to Orange for the t-shirt, I think.
I love those orange amps. Did you know, speaking of orange, did you know that Jimmy Page has a signature 120 watt?
Mm-hmm.
And did you also know, actually a good friend of mine, Tim Stevens, who's actually endorsed by Friedman and Rock and Roll Relics. He's been on my show and he's going to be coming back pretty soon. He, good guy, real good guy. Mo Giles band. Mm-hmm. Tim has the Supro Black Magic.
Oh, nice.
And he pairs that up with his Friedman amp.
Well, and
he runs it all into a 2-notes direct load box. And he runs his on his pedal board. And he runs his 2-note direct load box back to his rack, to his wall of sound.
Wow.
And that's how he doesn't use any cabinets on stage. It's amazing.
Wow. Nice.
And when he turned me on to the Supro Black Magic amp, I did some research on that. And you know what? That amplifier, the Supro Black Magic amp is Led Zeppelin 1, Led Zeppelin 2, Led Zeppelin 3, and Houses of the Holies all in one amp.
Yep.
It's amazing.
And also, people don't realize he used a Vox on a lot of that stuff too. Not that I have somewhere in here. Lawrence Petros did. It's probably that one right there. The Combustible Lemons, which is his take on Jimmy's Vox sound on those early Zeppelin recordings. So it's a little Vox in a box. And to answer Six String Brian, he says, is the rocker verb the orange amp to get? Yes. Long story short, yes. The rocker verb is a great amp.
Yeah. Nip, the rocker verb, doesn't the rocker verb, the orange rocker verb amp, have kind of a lineage to it?
Yeah, that's a circuit that's been around a long time, and it gets you that classic orange sound, hands down. It's a really easy amp to dial in. If you're looking for that orange sound. If you're not looking for the orange sound, don't get it, because you're going to sound like you're playing through an orange.
Well, nothing wrong with orange amps. I'm kind of checking out that Supro Black Magic. I like the Lenny Kravitz worked in partnership with Supro, and the whole concept of the amp came from Jimmy Page. So it's a pretty amazing amp. If you ever get a chance to play through a Supro Black Magic,
go for it. Definitely.
Go for it and close your eyes, and you'll see what I'm talking about.
I agree.
It's amazing.
Johnny was saying he loves orange amps, likes to use them when doing demos at Guitar Center. Definitely. I've been using Vox AC10 the last few in-store demos I've done. Just to be different, you know. Not everybody plays through a Vox, so why not? And it's got a nice amount of breakup on it, so I don't have to grab a distortion pedal out of the cabinet and bug the store clerks. I need more patch cables. I need a power adapter or a battery. And they're like, yeah, we know, Ben.
Jeez. John's so cool.
Oh, yeah.
John's a great guy, man. I love Johnny Bean. He's a good brother. Well, Ben, I thank you. I thank you for your time today, and I thank you for sharing your wisdom. And last thing, I just wanted to ask you real quick, do you have any advice for any young up-and-coming musicians? We talked about social media, but as Dave Friedman himself said, having a Friedman app for your channel is one thing, but having a Friedman app because you're gigging is something totally different.
That's true. Advice for a young musician: 3 things to look for when putting a band together. Make sure your bandmates have some form of talent. You know, they don't have to be a sight reader or anything, but, you know, be competent. You want to have bandmates that are reliable. You know, like how many I've had people apply and they're like, well, I play bass, but I don't own an amp and I don't own a car. Well, sorry, that's 2 strikes right there. You got to have gear. You got to have wheels, things like that. But one of the most important things is when look for a bandmate is the hang. How cool are they to hang out with? That's always been a facet to me. You know, like let's carve out 5 hours for rehearsal. Well, guess what? We're only going to be playing 3 of those 5 hours. The other 2 hours, we're just hanging out, shooting the breeze. And it's all about the hang, especially if you're looking to make it. You're going to be spending a lot of time cramped up in an undersized van with too much gear, sitting on top of bandmates. So if you don't get along, you guys, the little things are going to be huge things within 2 weeks. So that's the big thing. You know, have fun doing it. You know, sure, the end goal might be to be a rock star, but you got to enjoy the journey to get there.
Beautiful, Ben. Well, thank you so very much. Thank you so very much for spending your time with me this morning.
Hey, not a problem at all. Thank you.
You know, and I love hearing stories, and thank you so much for sharing your love and gear. And please, everybody, subscribe to Ben's channel, subscribe to my channel, follow our social links are down in the description box below. And please like and share this stream. Please like and share this stream. Check out Ben's links. Check out my support link. Very important. Please, if you like the content, please check out my support link. Thank you, Ben Coombs. I truly appreciate your knowledge.
Well, thank you again for having me. And if somebody's watching this on replay, leave a comment down below if you have any questions. I will check on the video over the next couple of days and answer any comments that are directed towards me.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out with Ben Coombs and myself. We both love you. We both appreciate you. And we're both very thankful for you. Have a good day, everybody, and see you next week with a brand new artist talk. Guests will be announced over the weekend. Take care, everybody. Love you. And as always, stay inspired. Stay inspired.
Exactly.